Well, a lot has been said about the use of hand sanitizers and washing hands and the running water and all that. But slum dwellers at Aboabo, Dagomba line in Kumasi say they can only look up to God for protection from the coronavirus disease. Residents, mostly head porters or scrap dealers, have little or no knowledge of the virus despite being exposed to risk by the nature of their work. Nane Ajuma visited the slum and filed this report.
Liquid soap with water from the spout of a kettle is poured in the palms of these kids. They wash their hands under supervision of their aunt. On the blind side of their mother, the kids left their makeshift house to play with friends outside. Fuseina instructs them to wash their hands to prevent them from contracting the deadly coronavirus.
They just went out, so they need hand washing.
Hand washing has become a formality for many here who have heard about the disease and education materials in the media. In spite of intensified education, most people here are unaware some people have tested positive to the virus in Ghana. It calls for strict adherence to preventive messages from health professionals. Saharatu Zachary is head porter with very little knowledge of the virus.
You don't know, some diseases, you might shake the person's hand, and I think if you wash it, it will be better.
Do you know how the coronavirus gets into the human body, the passage areas?
Yes, I don't know.
You don't know it can go through your eyes, your nose, and others?
No, please.
Are you aware that you're not supposed to touch your face with your hands, especially when you've not washed it immediately?
No, please. I'm not aware of that.
Scrap dealer Idrisu Mahadu is unaware of confirmation of cases of COVID-19.
We've heard it's in other parts of the world, but not in Ghana. You just informed us.
Idrisu and other colleagues sit under a shed chatting among themselves. Most of them had just returned earlier than usual from daily rounds to scavenge for scrap metals. It is their way of restricting their movement in order to protect themselves. They met on return quite a number of people, though not as many as usual. Discussion centers on the virus and how vulnerable they could be after one of them explained how much they are exposed. Right behind them is a wooden structure. I am told it's a sleeping space for many of them. The structure is poorly lit without windows, so no ventilation. Mats and mattresses are spread on the floor with other property packed in corners. Mahadi accepts they are largely at risk if the virus should be contracted by one of them.
We can't do much. We have to look to God. We pray it doesn't get here.
The congestion here was worsened by a recent fire that gutted a number of homes here. Now, the few who have been able to rebuild their wooden structures are forced to take in others who are shelterless. At least 8 people now sleep in a room. In this home, rented mainly to headquarters, not less than 100 people live in the 8 rooms. Inside one of the rooms, I find 7 tired-looking women with children who have retired from a day's Kayaye activities, taking a rest. Each has been in contact with several people they have lost track of. Many more are still in the central business districts, going about their businesses. They explain how they have protected themselves in the face of rising cost of hand sanitizers.
We buy sachet water, add soap, and wash our hand. They brought hand gels to the market and we also bought them. The sanitizers are expensive, but some of us are making efforts to get them.
A small-sized ceiling fan is the only source of fresh air in the 10 by 12 sized bedroom. The heat here is unbearable. Hanging on the walls are their clothes as buckets are packed in the corners of the room. freeing the center for their mats. They are aware of the dangers the crowded room exposes them to, especially as they meet hundreds of people on a daily basis in their line of work as headquarters. The inferno on the 14th of February consumed hundreds of wooden homes, commercial washrooms and standpipes. Though some have been reconstructed, the present situation calls for improved conditions. Researcher at the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, Dr. Michael also explains poor sanitary conditions and congestion may expose the slums to the virus.
But the Ministry of Sanitation and Environment should be able to collaborate with the various regions and the districts to ensure that these slums are managed for us. Because as I said, we haven't gotten to the level of community transmission. These are all imported cases. Once you don't have community transmission, there is a less risk of people exposing. But as soon as we begin to report community cases, then these slums have to be attended to as urgently as possible.
In spite of fear of spread of the virus, the country is yet to experience community transmission of the virus, as all cases recorded are described as imported. Urgent measures will be needed to stem the tide in areas like Dagomba Line. Reporting for Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.